Hi guys, so long time no see on this channel. I feel like this is like my MO. I just I vlog and I vlog and I vlog and then I take breaks, then I come back and I vlog and then I take breaks. Anyways, hi. So today I am currently sitting in my car. As you can tell, I'm actually outside of the Whole Foods. I was about to say outside of the Whole Foods parking lot, but I'm in the Whole Foods parking lot outside of Whole Foods. And I wanted to vlog. I'm actually going to go meet up with my friend Betsy here in a little bit. And we're going to talk about like YouTube. She wants to ask me questions about YouTube. And I want to ask her questions about just like music and songwriting. And we just want to talk and hang. But I wanted to hop on here first because I was having a conversation with Dan today. And he asked me if I had ever like talked about this on the internet, and I honestly don't know if I have. And I don't even know when I start talking about this, if this is even going to make any sense or mean anything to any of you. But I was talking to him and he was like, I feel like that's stuff that you need to start sharing more of. So let me kind of back up and bring up what like brought this conversation up. So I've been listening to Joyce Meyer a lot again lately. I've always been, well, not always, I didn't know her my whole life, but for years I've been a Joyce Meyer fan. And if you don't know who she is a female pastor, and she just goes around and gives talks about anything and everything. And she's older. I want to say she's probably in her early 70s, I would guess, or late 60s. So she's given so many talks about so many different things over the course of her life. And that's part of the reason why I love her, because you can just find her talking about pretty much anything. And a lot of her talks are on YouTube. And I've been listening to her a lot again lately because I've just been in kind of a funk, and probably part of that is due to having the flu for the last few weeks. And part of that is just, I feel like I've just been going through a lot over the last year and a half, 2 years, and I've shared some of that with you guys on my main channel. And things have gotten better in terms of like my depression and anxiety, but I still, am sorting things out and dealing with things. And, some of the issues I think have been chemical, like physical, and some of them are just things I think that God has me like working through right now. And one of the sermons I was listening to today, she was talking about how she feels like if you have, a strength in you, something in you that's, just your strength, she feels like Satan will do what he can to attack that in you when you're younger. Because if he can attack it in you when you're younger and subdue that strength, make you bitter, make you cold in that area, then obviously he's happy with that, in his mind, or I don't know why I'm wording it that way, but can stop from furthering the kingdom. And I thought that was really interesting. And I started thinking about, this is so weird to like address, but like I said, I feel like Dan had a good point. So I started thinking about just my life and some of the things that have been upsetting me lately, and something that I feel like, a lot of people might say just from knowing me or seeing me on my YouTube channel, is that I'm kind of like a people person. Like, as a generalization, I really love people. I find them fascinating. I find their stories fascinating. People bring me a lot of joy, and I'm one of those people that I have a lot of friends. I know a lot of people. I kind of just like, once I meet you, I kind of just consider you my friend, and I look for the good in people. And I feel like, people might call that a strength of mine. And it's interesting because growing up, I had a lot of very weird social interactions. Things happen with friends, with people, that even though, I love people and connecting with people is kind of a strength of mine, I think because of those things that have happened to me throughout my life, I struggle with reading things that happen with people or someone that I might want to be a friend with as a negative thing, as like, oh, they actually really don't like me. They secretly think that I'm annoying, and really nerdy and obnoxious, and they don't want to be my friend, and they're trying to figure out how to get rid of me, and, you know, they're just saying this, but that's not really how they feel. And that sounds weird, but I guess I'll get into some of the little specific stories. These feel so weird to tell, but like I said, I keep referencing Dan. He was like, I feel like you should get kind of like, you should tell some of these. So just pulling from random memories in my head, I remember something that happened to me when I was younger in fourth grade. There was a boy in our class that I thought was really cute and really sweet, and some of the girls that were not so nice had told me, they're like, he really likes you, he thinks you're cute too, you should go over, like they kept pushing me, they're like, go over, whisper in his ear and give him a little kiss on the cheek. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, I can't do that. And they were like, he likes you, like he thinks you're cute, he thinks you're sweet, come on. And so I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. So I go over to this guy, he was a little boy, we were fourth graders, and I go over, and I don't even know what I said to him, but I said something really quick, and then I gave him a little kiss on the cheek, and he pushes me away, and he goes, ew, you're disgusting, why do you even think that I would like you, something to that effect. I turn around, all of these girls are laughing at me. They're telling me like, we tricked you, ha ha, like, you know, stuff little kids would say. And I was like so mortified, right? This to me is like the less mortifying part, by the way, of the story. So I run away and I hide in the bathroom. I locked myself in the bathroom and I'm crying and I'm so embarrassed. And I sat in there for a while and time just kind of kept going and passing. And I start thinking, and I'm feeling really horrible about myself and really embarrassed. I was like, I go to a private school. I ended up being in there for a couple of hours. I'm like, my parents pay $300 a month for me to go here, which especially back then, because I'm 30, so fourth grade, that was a while ago. So with inflation, $300 was even more than $300 is now. I was like, my parents pay $300 a month for me to go here, and I'm only in fourth grade, and nobody cares that I'm missing. Not even the teachers care enough to come looking for me. And I just sat there for a few hours crying, and I waited until the end of school, and then I left. And, you know, just went out to the school line. And a lot of these, I had a lot of weird things like that happen in school that I never told my mom about growing up. Another one, I don't know if I've told this story. This is another young one. It was at school, and I remember a couple of the popular girls that I liked, I thought they were really cool or whatever, they asked me to come sit with them at lunch, and it was, you know, a different group I wasn't used to hanging out with, and some of the girls that I normally sat with were like, yeah, go sit with them, like, just tell us how it goes, whatever. So I bring my tray over and I set it down at the table, and I was like, oh, I forgot ketchup, because I've always been really into ketchup. And I get up and I go into the cafeteria, like the little room, to get my ketchup, and I come back out, and all of the girls had left the table. They had moved to another table. They had dumped my food in the trash can and just set my tray on the table. And I was like, oh no. And I remember my head was spinning. I was like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, I literally didn't know what to do. I was just really embarrassed. And so I sat down at the table, and I remember just like, what do I do? What do I say? Where do I go? Where do I look? And all of a sudden they start throwing open ketchup packets at me. And so they're hitting me on my clothes, and I was like, ah, and I like left and ran away to the bathroom again and was trying to wipe it all off of me. And that day I ended up coming out and just kind of like going back to normal, like a normal school day. And I remember that day my mom picked me up from school and was like, what, like, or she always used to make comments about how I was a messy eater, and she was like, how come you can't eat without getting food on your clothes? And I remember I was so humiliated, and I didn't want her to be upset, so I didn't have the heart to tell her that it was because other kids had thrown ketchup packets at me. And I just remember thinking, like, why do they dislike me so much? Like, what is so, like, awful about me that they want to throw open ketchup packets at me and they think it's funny? Like, I'm that nerdy or weird. Speaking of, I mean, by the way, side note, nobody is that nerdy or weird. Like, it's really horrible and mean. But I just thought, like, in the moment, in the spectrum of weirdness or nerdiness, I was like, I am that weird and nerdy that they think it's funny to throw open ketchup packets at me and laugh. It was really, like, it was really hurtful and embarrassing, and it felt like a movie. So that's a younger story. And it's really interesting because I guess fast forwarding, I'll tell one more. I hope this isn't a really annoying video. Like I said for the 15th time, I felt really like, Dan was like, I really think you should share these stories because a lot of people go through stuff like this. So, okay, this one is an older story. I was actually dating Dan at the time that this happened. And so I used to work at a place, and this place that I worked, I loved working there. Like, I literally loved my job. I loved my coworkers, which, side note, oh, never mind, I'll get to that in a second. I loved my coworkers. I thought they were so fun and quirky and cool, and like I fit in and had a group of people that really liked me. And I just whoa, what just happened? There we go. I loved my job. And one day I was at work and I got called into the HR office. And I go into the HR office and there were these 3 guys sitting behind a desk, like in suits. And I was in costume at the time because it was a place where I was like doing shows. And I sit down and they're like, do you know why you're here? And I was like, sorry, I have to move hands because my arm is getting tired. And I was like, I can't hold it in front of the camera. Sorry, my finger's just gonna be there, I guess. Ew, that's weird. You can like see my hairs. So I was like, no, I don't know why I'm here. And they were like, really? You have no idea why you're here? And I was like, no, I have no idea why I'm here. And they pull out a folder and they set the folder on the desk and they're like, now do you know? And I literally was like, what do you, no, I don't know. And he looks at me, this one guy, and he's like, you've had a lot of complaints filed against you by your coworkers. And I was like, what? Like, I remember being like my mind was blown. And I was 19 at this time, 20. So yeah, this is, like I said, this is much older in life. And my mind was blown. And I was like, what are they saying? And he was so attitude-y towards me too. Like, oh, you don't know? I remember just being so confused. I was like, what? No, I don't know. So he goes, well, basically this is, wow, tongue-tied English. People were saying that I was sleeping with my boss to get all of the parts I was getting because I had a bunch of random, like I was cast in a bunch of shows. And I was like, and he's staring at me like, is this true? And I'm like, this is so inappropriate. Like, first off, my boss is gay, so no, he's not sleeping with me. And second off, I'm a virgin. Like, I haven't even had sex. And he's like, okay. And then he presents me with another complaint that someone filed. And they said that I was walking around saying that the reason I had all these parts was because I was so much prettier than everyone else. And I was like, I remember just thinking, like, did a 12-year-old file these complaints? Like, they couldn't even come up with anything more creative than that. Like, who actually says that? And I was like, if I were to ever say anything even remotely resembling like that, or that, it would be in complete sarcasm. But I can't even picture saying that necessarily sarcastically. Like, no, I didn't say that. And it was a huge pile of paperwork, like this folder of all of these complaints that were filed against me. And I left feeling so, like, just shocked and surprised, which I guess means the same thing, and just like mind blown. I couldn't believe that, like, it was, this type of stuff was still happening to me. And I couldn't believe that I was so blindsided. Like, I instantly felt like an idiot. I thought, I really love these people. Like, I've had such a good time. I've walked around telling everyone how much I love my job and how much I love these people. And they dislike me so much that they're telling lies about me in a formal way, trying to get me fired. I couldn't believe it. And the thing is, you know, I'm telling you like 3 stories. Honestly, if this wasn't the most annoying, thing ever, which maybe it's not, maybe this is comforting to you to hear, but in my head, I'm like, if this wasn't the most annoying thing ever, I could just keep telling you stories. Like, I've had so many weird things like this happen, and it's a trip in my head, and it really makes you feel like, what's wrong with me? I don't walk around, at least organically, who I am in my heart, like feeling negative feelings towards people or having harsh judgments towards people. But the thing about it is I have noticed that as time has gone on, as I've gotten older, that these things that have happened to me have affected the way that I react to people when they do things. If they cancel things, if they say I really want to get together and it just doesn't ever happen, or like I said, they have to cancel something, or something on social media happens, I will interpret things in a way that is not only super narcissistic, like I will tend to make it all about me, but I will think it's negative. I'll think like, oh no, they don't, this is me being really vulnerable now, obviously at this point, but I'll think they don't really like me. They don't want to be with me, but they feel like they have to because I've got all these social media followers, and they feel like it's like they have to be nice to me and they have to be on my good side, but they don't really like me, and they're probably talking crap about me behind my back, and it scares me to really like people or to want to get close to people, because I will find myself not trusting them, not trusting the things that they say. And what's horrible about this, and the thought that's spinning in my head, is like, I'm not a saint. Like, even though I can sit here and tell you and mean it that I don't naturally have like malicious, mean thoughts towards people. I don't know. I generally just really like people. Even though I can say that, I still know I'm a sinner, and I do and say things, I'm positive towards people, that it's hurtful, whether I mean to or not. I'm sure that I hurt people, but I do feel like I've had I don't want to say abnormal, but we'll say that, an abnormal amount of like weird social interactions with people. Like, just weird things happen. And when I was listening to Joyce Meyer talk about that this morning, how she feels like Satan will start attacking you young in your area of potential strength to try to weaken you from blossoming and growing that strength. I thought about that because I thought, man, I find myself hiding from people to avoid more of that pain because of those things that have happened. And yes, those things have happened, but I don't want to be bitter. I don't want to hold back. I don't want to not show other people love, God's love, because of something that happened to me that I bet a lot of those people would regret. If I went and told those people, I bet a lot of them would regret that. And I bet a lot of them were going through hard things in their life at that time, and for whatever reason, it came out on me. And it's unfortunate that happened, and it hurts that some of these, that those things happened. But like I said, I don't want to stop reflecting God's love and how much God loves them because I've become hardened and bitter by some people's mistakes or sins that they've done in the past. Especially, like I said, because I know that I'm a sinner and that I mess up and that I have hurt people unintentionally and am not aware of it, and in a lot of instances probably will never be aware of it. So yeah, I don't even remember where that sentence was going, but I just felt like I needed to talk to you guys about this. So I hope that this wasn't whiny. I hope that my heart came across, and I hope that if you're struggling, that you find the strength to keep pushing through and not let other people, as I'm burping, dampen your shine, your strengths, your soul. So yeah, that is it. I just wanted to say that. I love you guys, and that is the end of this vlog, I guess. All right, I love you guys. Bye.